there, this is Doctor, and welcome to the TNA Post Show. As always, I'm joined by my co-host. He's the star of the show, the one and only Burt Macklin.
How's it going?
Oh my God, it feels good to be back. I know we weren't. I know we didn't do the show last week. Like I mentioned 2 weeks ago, I did go on a field trip to the filming locations of Power Rangers for Paramorphicon. So check that out on my channel, Rangers of Wrestling. But we have so much to talk about, Burt. Tonight's episode was the go-home show to Emergence. As we all know, Emergence is tomorrow. But before we get started with that, let's talk about the amazing opportunity that Joe Hendry has at NXT No Mercy. As we found out on Tuesday, Joe Hendry is the number one contender for the NXT World title. He will be challenging Ethan Page at NXT No Mercy. This is the opportunity of a lifetime for Joe Hendry. He has the opportunity to make history and become the first ever interpromotional champion.
And selfishly, just, because I like being right more than anything else, pretty much. Seeing Joe Hendry, I would be right then, and Joe Hendry would win an NXT title before a TNA title. So, yeah, I'm very intrigued by this.
Me too, because, everybody knows that I believe in Joe Hendry. I believe in 252 pounds of pure motivation, the answer to all of life's problems. I would love nothing more for Joe Hendry to win the NXT World title. I just have a feeling he may not be, because who is Joe Hendry feuding with in TNA? Josh Alexander, who just so happens to be Ethan Page's former tag team partner. Are we going to see Josh Alexander enter the prohibited portal and reuniting of the North?
I would like that. That's a way to have Joe Hendry lose. Yeah. Part of me doesn't. Obviously, a big part of me doesn't think he's gonna win. But it's like he's so over there as well. You could argue he's just as over there as he is in TNA. So it's like, why not? At this point, Ethan Page wouldn't have had a long title reign at that time. But you know what I mean? If that's the direction they want to go, I think that would be cool. Just to see, someone hold, what'd you call it, interpromotional champion, basically.
Yeah.
So that I hope he does win, because I don't think he's going to be TNA champion anytime soon, because I think they've really struck gold with this Josh Alexander heel turn. So and Joe Hendry's on the level where he doesn't need the belt. So, and I think at this point Josh Alexander should be champion. So.
Like I said, I would love it if Joe Hendry wins the NXT World title. I'm hoping he does, but we have to wait and see what happens at NXT No Mercy. What do you guys think? Will Joe Hendry defeat Ethan Page, or will he fail at capturing the NXT title? Let us know in the comment section or in the live chat. And if you send in a super chat, we'll read your comment live on the air. Your answer on the air. All right, let's talk about Explosion. I'm really digging the fact that they're keeping the 2-match format as it should be.
Yeah. Don't ever go back, please.
Yeah, I don't like the 1-match Explosion. Like, I sound like a broken record, and right now that I'm a little under the weather, I don't want to repeat myself too much, but I'm just going to say this one last time. They could do so much more with Explosion. Instead of having all those recaps, you could throw in extra matches. Have PCO defend on there. Have him do open challenges. He's digital media champion for a reason. Where's Explosion aired? TNA Plus. Tuesdays on YouTube. That's digital media. It makes the most sense. Why they haven't done that, I don't know.
Yeah, since it's the only place to see Explosion, why show stuff people are already paying for in the middle of something that's supposed to be new content?
Exactly. All right, so this week's explosion kicked off with Sami Callihan versus Zion. Zion is impressing me. This is the second time we see Zion, and I honestly wouldn't mind seeing more of him. I think he would make a great addition to the TNA roster.
Yeah, they're booking him like I think that they're going to try and sign him because and that you would think that I meant that he's winning, but I just mean that he's like they're booking him very strong in these losses. They're not squash matches.
Yeah, this is an enhancement match by any means necessary. Zion's been looking good the two times he's been on Explosion, so I want to see more of him. I hope we do, and not just on Explosion, but in Impact as well.
Definitely.
So you get the usual around the ring segment with Tia Miller. This time it's Jay Vidal. We find out Jay Vidal is a huge fan of reality TV, especially the Bad Girls Club. We find out Gia is a Rock of Love girl. I've seen Rock of Love. I used to watch Rock of Love, so I know what she means by that. I saw all 3 seasons of Rock of Love. Hey, Eric.
I'm familiar with those shows. Yes,
Me too. Those were my kind of reality TV shows.
It's funny that wrestlers watch that kind of stuff or when they're fans of that because wrestling definitely mirrors the stuff that you see on those shows.
Yeah, that's true. But I haven't kept up with a lot of reality TV shows these days. Like I said, every time Flavor of Love, Rock of Love, I Love New York, Daisy of Love, all them shows are on TV, I still watch those shows. Even though I know who wins, even though I know the outcome, I always watch those shows whenever they are.
Wrestling is basically a reality show. So.
Yeah. All right. Next we get Masha Slamovich versus Dani Luna. This is a great match. Great knockouts action. Masha winning by submission. I believe this is the first time she wins by submission, right? Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, and I can't remember if she has one with a submission in TNA, but yeah, this looked very nasty too. So, and this felt like a pay-per-view quality match. So, this was really good.
It was, and I hope we get to see more of Masha using these submission holds because I think this is the first time she won by submission.
Yeah, again, I don't have that off the top of my head, but if it is, I wouldn't be, I would believe you.
Yeah, definitely. I don't know. I don't recall her using a submission move before, but this was great. I want more of this. All right. So tonight's Impact was the go-home show to Emergence. Let's kick things off talking about Josh Alexander in the Nic Nemeth final face-off. Now, this closed tonight's show. This was a great segment. I really love the energy that Josh Alexander was giving off here. Like, he cursed, and so did Nic Nemeth. I thought that was really great. I like the fact that Josh Alexander brought up Kurt Angle, Sting, Samoa Joe, AJ Styles, and they keep bringing up the fact that Josh Alexander never lost a title. He had to relinquish it, which is true. He was never beaten for that title. But what were your thoughts on this segment?
I thought this was very good. Like, if this doesn't make you want to see the match, then I don't know what will at this point. Because when they had the out of the Iron Man segment, I knew, you know what I mean? I was already pretty intrigued. Even though that's not one of my favorite matches, I just was interested to see Josh in that type of match. But yeah, this just was so good. Added so much heat to the match.
I also said great face-off, felt like a BFG build. Tomorrow's going to be fun. I agree. It did. This added a lot to the match. And I do one of the lines that Josh said that intrigued me was when he said that Nic Nemeth is a shiny new toy, which is true because if you notice, every time somebody comes in, they always give them, like, they know how to book these wrestlers to make them look good. I mean, Trinity is a prime example. I like Trinity more than I do Naomi because look how TNA booked Trinity when she came to TNA.
I definitely agree with you on that.
Right? So this was great. I really like that they did this.
All right. Yeah, this TNA's been hitting out of the park with these contract signings lately, or these, the face-offs or whatever. It's been really good. Ray Walt was excellent in this segment as well.
He was. He moderated this segment really well.
Yes, he did.
All right, but great way to end tonight's show. All right, so tonight kicked off with an X Division title match: Speedball Mike Bailey versus Rich Swann. As we know, last week Mike Bailey agreed to give Rich Swann a title shot because he felt Rich Swann deserved it. This was a great match. They were evenly matched, and honestly, I would not mind if Rich Swann and Mike Bailey have another match down the road. This was great.
Am I imagining it? Or did Top Dollar make a comment that Mike Bailey couldn't even afford shoes? Did you, Francis, say that?
He did say that.
That was hilarious. That, really got me. This match was so good. And, yeah, when TNA will always open up with something like a quality match like this. But this, they always open up with a good match. But this match really blew me away. I didn't think it was going to be this good. Mike Bailey continues to be somebody that I think needs to be talked about when people are making their, I don't know, I don't look at their lists or anything or have that information, but I would hope that when people are making their ballots or whatever for Wrestler of the Year, he's on those lists, or at least getting mentioned, because I don't think his name's brought up enough in that conversation.
I have to agree. I feel like his name isn't mentioned enough. Mike Bailey is such an incredible talent. If he decides to stay in TNA or he decides to go somewhere else, he's definitely going to be a star.
Yes.
I still want First Class to enter the tag team division. So.
I do as well.
All right, next we get a Jordynne Grace interview, and she's basically talking about her match with Ash by Elegance tonight, and she basically says she will walk out Knockouts world champion. So good interview, your typical Jordynne Grace interview.
I really like this, and then just Gia asking her if she knew what an Ash by Elegance match was. I really like this.
Same. So we're supposed to get Brian Myers versus Joe Hendry, but Joe Hendry likes to do his promos before the match. He's talking about how he would usually about how he would make fun of Brian Myers, but he heard the people respect Brian Myers. Oh my god, I can't even say this without laughing. And he gets the people to chant and just bitch if they respect Myers. Which that was so hilarious. What are your thoughts on this?
And yeah, he also had a song for Ethan Page on NXT as well. So yeah, no, this was very funny. Joe Hendry is always hilarious when he does these. He wrote this one a while ago, Edge's Bitch, I believe. So this was a callback. Yeah, this was very funny.
It was. One of the things I like about this match is the callback to their feud. As commentary mentioned, Joe Hendry dethroned Brian Myers with the digital media title and then went on to become the longest reigning digital media champion. So I really like that callback. And just like last time, Joe Hendry emerged victorious.
Yeah, it's not like they have him losing a lot. He just has come up short in some big title matches. The last one, he wasn't even technically, he was pinned, but it wasn't like he was pinned for he was screwed and then pinned quickly. So yeah, they still have him winning enough to keep him over, and he is over regardless. So yeah, this was good stuff.
You know what I wonder? And I brought this up last time. How the hell Joe Hendry makes so many enemies? The entire system are his enemies. You can throw in Frankie Kazarian in there. You can throw in Josh Alexander. How the hell does he keep making so many enemies?
He's so popular, it might rub some of the people the wrong way.
That's true.
And he just keeps making diss tracks about people. People aren't going to like that either.
Yeah, that's another good point. I mean, Henry single has defeated every, except for Alicia Edwards for obvious reasons, has defeated every single member of the system.
Well, if they were to face off at this point, I wouldn't have Henry beat her because she's the leader of the system, so they need to keep her strong. So I would have her win.
Yeah. That'd be an interesting matchup. All right, so at the end, it's a 201 beatdown to Joe Henry by the system. Mike Santana comes to his aid, but this sets up Mike Santana versus Eddie Edwards. This was great. I thought this was a fantastic match. Mike Santana was victorious, and he is slowly taking down the system because, remember, the system took him out. And Moose put out a hit on him.
Again, this was another good match. And they continue to be, I was a big LAX fan, a big Santana Ortiz fan. And it's not like I never thought that they both of them weren't capable of being single stars, but I never thought, that Mike Santana was going to be this good, especially this quickly. So, yeah, I think that I like what they're doing right now because it's an interesting feud where a belt's on the line, and that always shows the strength of the roster. But it'll be interesting to see where they go after he kind of finishes up with the system.
Yeah.
If they put him right in the title feud right away.
Yeah, I'm curious to see, because I definitely do think he and Moose, they're holding off for him versus Moose. I feel like that's going to be the Bound for Glory match, Moose versus Santana. So I think he will beat Moose, but then the question remains, where does Mike Santana go from here? Depending on who's champion at Bound for Glory.
Yeah.
We get a Matt Cardona promo. And according to Matt Cardona, he's still not medically cleared to compete at Emergence. Of course, he blames TNA doctors for this. Io says Boston versus New York. And he says he's got a mystery monster to face PCO. And Santino Marella says Matt Cardona won't get away with this. Now, I'm very curious to see who the mystery monster is, because there's not a handful of monsters. You think we see a return of Jonah?
Well, no, he's in. I don't think anyone from the main roster comes over.
Okay.
I don't have any, I don't pay attention to spoilers or anything, and especially I haven't seen anything on this person, but maybe Dijak comes in.
Oh, Dijak! I completely forgot about Dijak. That's a good guess.
I just don't think that they're gonna have him face Connor Fulton again. Con especially, and I don't think Cardona brings anybody from NXT, so I'm just trying to think of people who are, free agents.
I thought Dijak for a second. I mean, the only person from NXT that I can think of that would be considered a monster would be Obafemi.
Yeah. And that would be awesome. But yeah, no, Dijak would make sense. I could see make sense in this spot.
I totally forgot about Dijak. He's been a free agent since June, right?
I believe so.
No disrespect, but I completely forgot about him. I didn't even cross my mind until you said it. Another person I was thinking was possibly Abyss. I mean, I know he technically works backstage, but hey, you never know. Stranger things have happened.
I'm kind of hoping for, now that I think about it, I'm kind of hoping for Dijak, just because I think I'm much more, when they said he has I want a surprise and someone new, regardless if it's someone that I'm not the biggest fan of. I'm not saying I'm not the biggest fan of Dijak, he's good, but I'm just saying I'd rather a surprise than someone new than just somebody from the roster.
Yeah, I think Dijak will probably be the biggest surprise, so we'll see. We'll find out tomorrow. Okay. So we get Hammerstone versus Eric Young. This is a great match. Hammerstone keeps delivering good performances. I cannot wait to see how he does in the Ultimate X match.
I was more focused, not more focused, but and that's a very good point. Um, when it comes to that, I'll have my prediction after this. But when after the show, but I was really focused on Steve Macklin just because one, I really hope that he gets another run with the world title, but two, just what a great pickup he was. Like, I don't know if WWE just saw him as a generic guy. That's why they put him in the faction they did, and put him in a faction in general. And he did seem very generic in NXT, but he comes off as such a star in TNA, and the way he was talking during the match, I just think that they need to give him the ball, and I think he definitely could be one of their big players going forward.
Yeah, I did appreciate Macklin on commentary. You're right. The way, I mean, just think back to how TNA booked Macklin when he first came in. He was undefeated. They booked him like a they booked him really strong. He had his feud with Trey Miguel, and it was really great the way that they initially booked him. I really hope um to kind of veer off, but I hope Macklin defeats Eric Young. Eric Young doesn't need to win here.
And that'd be a big. That's the kind of the way that they're setting it up to. Just because him talking about how it's his time, you know what I mean, and Eric Young needs to step aside, you know what I mean? Like what I forget the line that Macklin said, but it was very good. Just talking about, basically what I just said, stepping aside. But the way he put it was very good.
Mm-hmm.
And his booking is similar. They're booking Santana very similar. They're booking Santana very strong, having him get big wins against major opponents.
Yep. All right, so next we get a Jake something Cody Deaner segment. And this segment caught my attention because you and I have talked about possibly Cody Deaner turning heel because of the fans, or even Jake something turning heel. He teased it when he attacked Cody a couple weeks ago. And this segment, the reason why this segment caught my eye was because as Cody Deaner was talking, Jake something snatched that microphone out of his hand and told him that this is not about the people, it's about them proving themselves in the tag team division. So I thought that caught my attention because I feel like Jake something's leading to a heel turn here.
That's why what happened after the match was more telling than, especially because of what you just said. Because so like obviously, ABC pick up the win, which I thought they would, because for all the reasons that you said, especially they're leading to something. But correct me if I'm wrong. Did I see last week that Rich Swann is currently suspended?
Yeah.
Well, after the match, Jake something kind of stayed by and watched Swann and Francis take out ABC. If I'm TNA, I'm having a segment immediately next week with AJ Francis approaching. With AJ Francis approaching Jake something, or vice versa. Put them together right now, because in the immediate time, I want first class with the tag titles. So if that's with Swann and Francis, which obviously they can't be right now, it's still going to be with first class. So the way that I think that they're going to finally do something with this Jake something heel turn. It was too telling.
Joseph said they need teams for ABC to feud with. Guess this is a new heel team. The Dina's unit ain't working out, although Jake did nothing while they attacked ABC. That is true. And you did bring up a good point. If you notice towards the very end of the match, Jake something disappeared. He pretty much hung out on the outside, and he left poor Dina in there by himself with ABC. And then afterwards, after ABC won, like you mentioned, he was just watching as First Class attacked, he could have done something. He could have gone in there and saved ABC, but he chose not to.
Because
So
I'm
that was
assuming. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm assuming just because the way that TNA's filmed and tape, I'm assuming we're going to get a segment, maybe next week or maybe at the pay per view tomorrow, of kind of writing Rich Swann off TV temporarily, so that you know what I mean. So I'm interested to see just the way the match ended with him staying out there. And the camera focusing on him. They're gonna do something.
Oh, for sure they are. I don't know how long Rich Swann is suspended for. It didn't say how long he was suspended for.
And yeah, I just don't know when this episode was taped. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Guess we'll find out at Emergence tomorrow. Another
Yeah,
solid show. Yeah, hell yeah. A really great show. This is how you do a go home show. I've always said the purpose of a go home show is to get you excited and hyped for the pay per view, for the uh, live event special. This did its job. I'm hyped for Emergence.
and to make people not who aren't already to buy the show.
Exactly. Exactly. TNA don't have to convince me to buy their shows because I already buy them and I'm gonna watch. I tune
Exactly.
in. But it's really great that they deliver. They constantly deliver, and it gets people to tune in. That's what you're supposed to do.
Yes.
All right, so the last thing we're going to talk about is the match by Elegance Falls Count Anywhere match. It was Jordynne Grace versus Ash by Elegance for the Knockouts title. Even Ios's great go home show tonight. Yep, I agree. This match was actually a lot better than I thought it was gonna be. I was kind of scratching my head and like, what the hell is a match by Elegance? This was actually really fun. I mean, yeah, there was a lot of pink in this, a pink kendo stick, a pink steel chair. There was flowers. Hell, they even decorated the table with a tablecloth. But this was really fun. I really liked this, and one of the things that I liked, Io says this was fun. Kudos to both women. Give Asher flowers. One of the things that I liked was that everybody got involved. You had Spitfire, you have the Militia, especially they're going to have a tag match at Emergence. So I really, really did enjoy this match. Of course, Rosemary came out and cost Ash by Elegance this match, and Jordynne Grace was victorious. That muscle buster through the table. Props to Ash for taking that spot. That looked brutal. But yeah, this was great. This could have been a stupid, silly match, but both women made it a really fun match. So props to them.
This was TNA with a little bit of taking a little bit of inspiration for the WrestleMania finale, just kind of having like an Avengers type ending where you have people coming out kind of to help, each side. Yeah, no, this was, I think, while I think Ash proved herself, and I think this is her second great match, the common denominator being Jordynne Grace, but it's not like Ash, just stood there. I hope that they move Ash immediately, whether someone else on the roster they sign someone, I hope they move her to the tag team division now. Just because I don't want to see her in the main event scene for a little bit. You know what I mean? She's had two big, losses. I don't want her to be the one to take the title off Jordynne. I think it's kind of time to, get ready to either put it on, like I keep saying, Tasha or Giselle. But yes, this was a very good match. I think this was better than their match. Was it Slammiversary?
Yeah, Slammiversary.
Yes, I think this is a better match. It was kind of a cluster, but still, it was very good. There was tons of good spots. The spot at the end was insane. I like how Jordynne works. Like, she takes all these like moves from like big guy wrestlers of the past. Like she hit a Vader bomb. She hit a World's Strongest Slam, I believe. You know what I mean? Like I just love the way that she wrestles, and I think also too, because to me, I think that when looking at some and judging and rating someone's title reign, defenses are way more impressive than length. I think that they said that she's got 13 defenses, and 200 days is not short. But I think Jordynne needs to be talked about more. I think it's pretty safe to say Jordynne is probably the number one if you're talking about U.S. promotions in the world right now. I don't think anyone's better than her.
Okay. Eric Isaac says Rosemary got both her and Havoc back at Ash tonight. She did. This was supposed to be a stupid match. It put Ash on the map. She needed this match since she joined TNA. Yeah, tag team division needs teams, but who teams with her? Her concierge. So I do agree. I think that Ash by Elegance has shut up a lot of haters. She's proven that she could wrestle. Like I said from the beginning, I dug Ash by Elegance. I dug her character, but she did silence me because I criticized her match with Jordynne Grace, being as to why that was a Slammiversary match, and she's shown why it was a Slammiversary match. This was her second best match with Jordynne Grace. I agree with you. I think it's time she enters the Knockouts tag team division. We need Knockouts tag teams, and I mean this, and I don't mean this in a bad way. I mean this with all the utmost respect. I like Militia, I like Spitfire, but we have got to move on from this feud. Why not use the NXT TNA partnership, like you've mentioned, like I has mentioned, to bring more tag teams into TNA? We need more tag teams. Who do you pair Ash with? If she moves past her feud with Xia Brookside, maybe her and Xia Brookside could be a tag team. Maybe you sign someone and pair her up with Ash. I don't know. We just need more Knockouts tag teams, and I think Ash by Elegance would make a great addition to the Knockouts tag team division. The question is just finding her a partner.
Yeah, Ash bringing somebody in would be very, you know what I mean, especially fitting the gimmick. She's got a personal concierge, maybe bring in like a personal bodyguard. You know what I mean, and that's the character. And yeah, have them go after the tag team division. You know what I mean? Or yeah, maybe somebody is almost on their way back from injury, whether it's Kylan King or maybe Killer Kelly. Both would be good options. Yeah. I definitely would like, and again, it's not like they haven't really built it up to a point where it could have withstained the division could have withstood any losses anyway. So now is the time to start building it up more. If they're gonna continue to have it, it's got to be a viable division. You know what I mean? They have to bring in more talent, and yeah, whether it's right now, they should utilize NXT a little bit more because they have a plethora of really good women over there in that division. You know what I mean? That could have screen time over on NXT. So I think this is a great opportunity.
The Knockouts tag team division is where the men's tag team division was a couple years ago. There's hardly any tag teams. I said this before. TNA lost a lot of women's tag teams within the span of a couple months. They lost more than they were able to replace. They lost the Influence. They lost the Inspiration. They lost Vex. They lost Chantarage.
But if you think about it, it kind of has always felt that this division has always been a two-team division when they book it. Whether like the men's division, it seems like there's always like teams that like non-title matches, but it always felt like in the Knockouts division, the matches you get are either a tag team, a title match, or the match we always talk about where it's two of the people from the team having a singles match. You know what I mean? They need to have signed some like a couple more teams. So you know what I mean? We have some Knockouts tag team non-title matches, in the division, you know what I mean? Like, and obviously they could just sign more and build more women and just build with from within, which there's no problem with that. There's nothing wrong with that either.
Yeah. Just says, I knew Ash could wrestle. The haters that used to be on hated her because of her presentation at first. We had to see her in the ring. I also says, Gail Kim says she's working on the tag team division. Hopefully before the year ends. He agrees, why not use the Knockouts tag titles for NXT women? They'll put interest on both brands. Yeah, I don't know why they don't send NXT women like the Fatal Influence to give Militia issues. Ash should take this momentum and build her credibility going into 2025. That's why I think they should send NXT tag teams over there. Militia versus Fire gets old pretty fast. That's true. I think we're gonna stop right there. Otherwise, this review is gonna become a whole other thing because the knockout. Because we can talk about the knockouts tag team division in a whole video by itself.
Just go back to whoever just said Fatal Influence. Get them on TNA ASAP. That's the modern day beautiful people. Get them on TNA. They fit TNA so well. They need that's where I would, because again, this is real quick. This is also goes back. This is what I was calling for more in the beginning, when the two things I was calling for when AEW and TNA were working on was not made at working together, were not made eventers. It was tag teams and the women. And right now, I think that's where they need to go with working with NXT. It's women tag teams, and then also bring in more women as well. So it's just for the singles division. So they definitely have a lot of room where there can be some very interesting stuff.
Yeah, that's true. I agree. All right, we're gonna stop the review right there because we're gonna get way out of hand talking about the knockouts tag team division. All right, we're gonna do emergence predictions. You have the match.
Yes.
Okay. How many matches do we have?
6 so far that I only can see. If someone wants to help us out in the chat as we're reading them and let me know if I missed one, it's appreciated. But
let's go. Okay.
Okay. The first match advertises Kushida versus Frankie Kazarian. I think Kazarian's winning. Because I don't know if we talked about it just real quick. Did they just abandon? I hope they're not abandoning the whole the whole Jonathan Gresham dark side turn. Because I'm hoping that not only Kazarian wins, but maybe we see a return of Gresham in the kind of the octopus costume and cost Kushida the match. Because Gresham won last time, but you know what I mean. He wasn't the same kid. You know what I mean. It's almost like they just totally got rid of that storyline. But going back to this match, I think Kazarian wins.
Yeah, there's so far 6 matches announced. I don't have anything else.
Okay.
Number 2, in terms.
Who do you think wins?
Wait, 7 matches. Oh, PCO, yeah, PCO defense against a mystery monster.
Who do you think wins, by the way?
The king of TNA, Frankie Kazarian. Okay. I don't think they abandoned it. I think that they're doing a whole Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde type of thing with Jonathan Gresham. Because if you remember, when he came back as Jonathan Gresham, he said that he had been sick and he didn't have any memory or any recollection of what he had been doing. So I do see the octopus.
Okay.
He's an octopus now, right? And seeing the mask come back and costing Kushida this match.
We'll get a mirror segment where he looks in the mirror and the octopus is in the mirror.
Yeah. All right, go next.
It's Mike Bailey, obviously the Ultimate X match with Mike Bailey versus Zachary Wentz versus Riley Osborne versus Jason Hotch versus Hammerstone versus Laredo Kid.
Oh, this is interesting because I really honestly don't have a winner for this. But if I had to choose one, you know what? Give me Hammerstone. I think Hammerstone, I definitely would love to see Hammerstone as X Division champion. Why? Because the X Division is not about limits. There are no limits, right? Even though Mustafa Ali tried to put limits on the X Division title.
I would have Hammerstone win by ripping the whole structure down.
Yeah.
And just grabbing the belt. I don't want to. He doesn't need to climb. Yeah, I have Hammerstone winning as well.
Joseph does bring a good point, though. Chase University's Riley Osborne's new champion, shocking boom for the partnership. If Riley Osborne does emerge victorious here, I would think that that would give Joe Henry a bigger possibility of defeating Ethan Page at NXT No Mercy. But just keep
going, sorry.
But I'm sticking with my pick, Hammerstone.
If Riley Osborne wins, then I'm immediately going to thinking that Joe Hendry's winning on Sunday.
Yeah, same. All right, keep going.
We have the 6 knockout tag team match with Jordynne Grace with Danny Luna and Jody Threat versus Ash by Elegance and Militia. I think that they got to give Ash and Militia something. While I don't think Ash is going to pin Jordynne because then they don't need to have a third match, I do think that obviously someone from either Jody Threat or Danny Luna is going to pin a member of Militia to set up them getting a tag team title match. So yeah, I have Spitfire and Ash. I have Spitfire and Jordynne win. I mean, Ash and no, sorry, I have Jordynne, Danny Luna, and Jody Threat winning. And yes, Jordynne, Danny Luna, and Jody Threat winning.
Well, I was gonna say because this is a non-title match, I could see Ash and the Militia winning. Oh yeah, see, Joseph says that. I think Ash. However, I mean, depending on what goes down, like you said, if Ash pins Grace, we might get a third match. Or I could see some shenanigans going on in this match. That's for sure. But because this is a non-title match, I'm gonna go with Ash and the Militia here. Oh, this is interesting. Jordynne needs a new challenger for September's pay-per-view. I could see one of Militia pinning her. The thing is, Jordynne Grace has defeated Masha Slamovich, and no, the last time Lish challenged for the Knockouts title, it was against Trinity. So maybe Lish pins Jordynne Grace. Maybe we'll get Lish versus Jordynne Grace.
Okay.
I could deal with that.
Ash pinning one of the tag team champions, though, would be a nice way for her to then want tag, you know what I mean? So I wouldn't have a problem with that either.
Militia by Elegance wins. That's funny. All right.
Okay. Next we have the 8-man tag with Joe Hendry, Santana, and the Hardys versus the System.
Joe Hendry and the Hardys.
Yeah, I don't see any way where the System wins one whatsoever.
You know I trust the System, but I think the System's going to start to malfunction.
I guess Moose pinning Santana makes sense just because Santana's going to end up getting the win back when they have their match. So that's the only thing I can think of. Because I don't think Joe Hendry is going to be involved in the pin in any way. I think it's going to be one of the Hardys or Santana.
Joseph says, yeah, I was say Joe Hardy. I was going to say Joe Hardy. Joe Hendry, Santana, and the Hardy Boys win to make Joe look good before Sunday. That's true. I think Joe needs to look strong going into NXT No Mercy, so I definitely do think him and the Hardy Boys are winning this. And Santana, too.
And then obviously we have PCO versus Cardona's mystery person. I think I'm thinking and just hoping maybe it's Jack, just because that's somebody new. Because I just can't think of any other free agents right now that, you know what I mean? I can't think of anybody else that fits that.
I'd say Dijak, and if you really want to make an impact, no pun intended, seriously, you have Dijak win and defeat PCO. I think the big question mark here is, does SDL stick by PCO side, or does she return to Matt Cardona?
Yes. We have the 60-minute Iron match, a real Iron Man, not 30 minutes, 60 minutes. It's Nic Nemeth taking on the champion, taking on Josh Alexander. I don't see, because I think I just recently saw that Nic Nemeth is like on a per, like he's only signed for a certain number of days, and I think he just keeps ringing up per day, if I read that right. But I don't see because the last match just ended in a draw, and Josh Alexander didn't want to have the match go on, even though Nic Nemeth said they can go 5 more minutes. I don't think they're going to do a draw in an Iron Man match. I definitely do think that they're going to add 5 more minutes to it. I don't see why I don't see Josh not winning, but I just don't see Nemeth losing at this. Not because it's not like it wouldn't make sense, and it's not because there's a rule on how long a title reign should be. I just don't see Josh winning here yet, but again, this is a match that Josh should win. So, you know what I mean? He's built for this type of match. So I'm going to say Josh wins.
Joseph makes a great point. He thinks Nick escapes by overtime. This is a return from a random 30-minute draw. This is technically Nick's second defense. This is Josh's match, but this could go either way. That is true. This is Josh Alexander's match, but it can go either way, like I said. I mean, I don't think Nic Nemeth is going to lose this early. Io says Josh right now. Everybody's rooting for Josh.
But you also could, because I don't think that they've had a confrontation yet, you could have Joe Hendry cost Josh the match.
Josh has a history of going 1 hour. He retained in a 1 hour match over Speedball. I remember had to get rid of 2 matches. Yeah, that's true. He did retain in a 1 hour match against Speedball. So Josh can go an hour. We all know Josh can go an hour. But I feel, and this ties into what I mentioned at the start of the show when we talked about Joe Hendry getting the NXT opportunity. The TJP match too, yeah. I think I think Josh Alexander loses this, and this sets him over the edge. Remember during the face-off, he says he doesn't want to talk about that mean Joe Hendry. I think this is going to set him over the edge, and I think he's going to cost Joe Hendry the title opportunity at NXT No Mercy after he loses his own opportunity at the TNA World title.
Okay. But that's why I want Joe Hendry to cost him, so then it makes even more sense why Josh would show up on Sunday.
Yeah, you know what? I could see that because Josh cost Joe Hendry an opportunity to TNA World title at Slammiversary. So I could see Joe Hendry wanting to get back at Josh. Yes, Dr. I was thinking the only way Ethan retains Sundays by crap, Josh losing here would be that crap. Yeah.
Because I don't think just because Josh loses, he's just going to still be thinking about Joe Hendry. So he's going to show up on Sunday. But Joe Hendry owes Josh payback. So Josh isn't going to take that lightly. You know what I mean? He's going to show up and screw Joe Hendry in his biggest opportunity yet. You know what I mean? And it also sets up for the scenario that you mentioned that you would like to see the North reunion. So, you know what I mean? Now I think Nemeth wins with interference by Joe.
If Josh costs Joe Hendry Sunday, that may start a riot. I've been hearing this. If Joe's time to be NXT champion, yeah, definitely. We forgot Steve Macklin and Eric Young, but I think we mentioned it earlier. Steve Macklin, we both picked Steve Macklin.
Yeah, Macklin's gonna win.
All right, Bert. So as we get ready to sign off, where can people find you?
Just on X at BertMacklin11.
And you can follow me on Twitter at @Attila_. I talk all things wrestling, WWE, AEW, TNA. I go live at my channel, Rangers of Wrestling, every Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Educational Saturdays and Sundays. I did go to Power Morphicon this past weekend, so if you're a big Power Rangers fan, I do have some stuff from there if you guys want to check out. Let me see. We are 7 matches. Interesting to see they add more the day up. Yep. Good night, you guys. Thank you guys all so much for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe. You hit that bell so you get notified whenever we go live and whenever Body Slam goes live. And we see you guys tomorrow for the go home show. We'll see you guys tomorrow for Emergence. Bye.